we know who our core audiences are. We know that they're going to come. We know how to talk to them, although I do say the grain nomads we could be doing a lot better at. But what we needed to do was to think about what are some of the opportunities in new audiences. So we can go, you know, like there's people 35 plus, they're ABs, they're, you know, they live in Canberra, they're professionally educated. Look, that's kind of broad demographic information. But really, we need to think about audiences differently. And this is what this slide is all about. I'm going to take you through each one of these in a minute. But, you know, we need to think about what type of experience do people want to have. So this is getting back to that value proposition. You know, can we engage with university students? How might we do that? The lunch breakers, the after workers, you know, I mean, we're surrounded by people in government offices who must sit there and think, oh, what could I do just for half an hour? Are they an opportunity?
No. I've
No?
been there and done that. I've worked across the road from those cultural institutions for many years, and I even bought season tickets to some of the shows thinking, but you just can never get your head out of the office.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah, the incentive.
So after work, it has to be after work.
Yeah, it could be. The lonely singles, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are not in relationships or don't have a great network of friends. How do we actually engage with them? So I'm really talking about really niche segments now. Couples, you know, I just wish my, no, I don't wish my children left home, but, you know, couples who want to go out and have a type of experience that they want to have that experience together. And it's kind of an intimate experience that they want to share together. They don't want, they may want to be in a kind of semi-social experience, but they actually want to do something that's of value to them. I just sort of did some dot points about, you know, how could I engage the university students? What do I need to do? So it's kind of looking at, you know, we all know, and as Sue said, you know, the younger people are looking for kind of cheap areas, you know, though I'm sure they spend more money on going out than I do. But, you know, looking for cheap areas to study, to commune with their peers, where the utilities for research and study and flexible hours, I think, is kind of a way to engage university students, particularly ones who are in the arts field, photography. You know, if we could actually think about how we would do that as an institution. So I'm just laying these ideas out there as thinking about how to engage them. So, you know, what would we offer them? You know, what would be the proposition in the offer would be longer opening hours, free Wi-Fi. Actually, one of the interesting things when I worked at the museum was that, you know, we had no Wi-Fi anywhere in the institution. They do now. But, you know, like, here was an organisation that when it first opened was, you know, really focused on leading technology, having this experience like K-Space, all of that. Yeah, when they built the building and when they thought about it, they hadn't actually put in Wi-Fi. So it's kind of interesting. Student discounts, you know, like let's give them an offer that, you know, is of value to them. Whether that be, you know, we've got a fantastic shop in Portrait Gallery. The books are amazing. You know, for students, it's a real book. And enhance our links to unis. I mean, the one thing that, you know, we always do when we talk about our marketing and comm strategies about how do we engage with these kind of niche audiences. We never do it well. It's always this one-sided because of resources and time. We need to actually focus on engaging this, and that's kind of like getting in their newsletters, you know, getting into the different schools, you know, like the art school, you know, getting into the CITs with the photography students. I mean, we really need to learn a lesson around how do we actually do that with the institutions, and it's one of my big focuses. It's not about, you know, the broad appeal, it's about talking to some of these organisations that we can actually link with, and I think gives both institutions, whether it be the university, the CIT or the Portrait Gallery, some real value around engaging with their students, and it's about value for them with their students as well. Free venue for clubs, you know, can they come, can they get together, can they meet, can they have this kind of experience? Activities, archives for specialised facilities. I mean, I'm talking about photography and art, you know, but if you went to, you know, every institution probably has a unique proposition that they could put towards this audience. You know, an area where they can actually, you know, kind of chill out, relax. Mind you, the Portrait Gallery is a very small institution. We actually need another whole wing. You know, so they can kind of add other tie-ins to life in unis, you know, like, I mean, what do uni students do in their free time, or how do they actually want to experience their study time? Can we actually give them something that's new and interesting? So the lunch breakers. You've really challenged me now. I'm so getting them over there. So what are their needs? You know, they want to de-stress. Some of them possibly may want to get away from their work colleagues. And, you know, so what they can come is come and have a half an hour experience. We can tap into the right experience for them. They could come, just lose themselves in the institution, get their head in a different space. They can go back to work. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I just need to walk away from a particular issue or problem in the workforce and put my head in another space and then come back to it. And you've got a different perspective. So that's kind of the proposition we're talking, the proposal there. You know, we might say, look, you know, on Wednesdays between 12 and 1, you know, we won't charge you, or you can get in for 50% off. Is that a value proposition? Is money the important thing, or is it time? So I guess we'll work through that. But what I'm trying to say here is, you know, like you need to look at the audiences and you need to know what their needs are and what the proposal is that's actually going to drive them in here. And, you know, and I think, you know, and I'm not just thinking about one proposition, there might be 2 or 3 that is actually going to drive that audience for you. But so I think it's great, and, you know, look, I would much prefer to go and have a drink after work than try and get to, I'm one of those people who don't have lunch, right? So I just, you know, I'm busy, you know. I don't even have it at my desk. So, you know, I kind of understand that busy person's need, but, you know, you need to think about 2 or 3 different alternatives to get to them. The lonely single. You'd be amazed how many people there are in this category. And I think it's, you know, they're looking to be, their need is they want to be in the world, they want to actually be connected. They're lonely, they're wishing to be in a safe public place where they feel comfortable, they don't feel like they're, you know, I'm here by myself, look at me, you know, don't look at me thing. And they want to possibly consider the opportunity. They want to be put in a position where they might meet new people, but there's no pressure for them to meet new people. So, you know, encountering nights for like-minded people, you know, get them interested, you know, are they interested in culture? Because I think that's the biggest hook you've got for those kind of people. Put them into as kind of, you know, provide them experience where they can actually be not intimidated by it. And here I am talking about social media. I'm talking about, you know, social media like a Facebook club. I'm talking about using the social media to actually connect them, and then them meeting to have the experience at the institution. So thinking about things outside what we would normally do in a communication field, but it's about getting a connected group together of like-minded people. The couple, date destination. You know, like I think people want to, you know, people are dating, even husbands and wives still date occasionally. You know, they want to have that, and we talked about this before, that one-on-one experience and enjoy it together. They want a memorable experience, something that they can actually relate to and talk about, and a shared experience, relaxed atmosphere. They're happy to be in a large group, but they don't actually want to interact with that large group. There's that kind of needs. Their proposal, you know, the proposal is the idea of sharing a lot of cultures, longer opening hours, and look, this is a big challenge for, look, it's up on a number 1 of these kind of audiences. But for us, as we were talking about before, you know, the cost involved in keeping a cultural institution, and you guys might, you'll all be able to do this better than what we can do it, and I think you need to think about, we have this thing about 9 to 5. Is that really the right vehicle to engage your audience? Or are you better off opening at 12 and staying open to 8? You know, they're the things you need to think about around those experiences, because, you know, people are completely changing the way their time value and their experiences. They've got a desire to educate themselves outside formal institutions. So they are the ones who want to get on your website, they want to come to the exhibition, they want to talk to the curator, and they want to learn something that nobody else knows, really. So theirs is about, you know, great ideas, permanent displays, tracing history, thoughts and ideas is their proposition. And they want it to put into their context. They want to put it into their life, their current circumstance. They want to be able to overlay that information. they want to have interactive media access to lectures, so they want to get on and, as you're going to do, so, you know, it's going to be on a website, it's going to be, you know, out there, they can actually tap into those kind of things, blogs, reading groups, workshops. We've actually just started a reading group at the Portrait Gallery. So we actually pick a book that's maybe connected, which of course is connected to a part of our collection or a particular piece of work. You cannot believe, we cannot run enough of them. People are so engaged in that particular process, and there's this group of people here, but we cannot run enough of them to meet the demand of the Portrait Gallery. So there is an audience out there for them, the executive. Another one, you know, another audience we can tap into, people who are busy, how are we going to get them, you know, they're, you know, we've got quite a few of these people in our organisation who visit us. They come in a different type of experience. They kind of like having exclusive events. They like being with like-minded people. We actually work really hard around particularly our sponsors and then engaging their executives or clients that they want to engage in the institution. It's a really big area for most galleries, is this particular market.
And is there a crossover here with this audience as with your sponsorship group as well? So this isn't just marketing the experience, but hey.
It's a three-tiered link. You know, you've got sponsors like, you know, you might have a bank, you might have an accounting firm, you might have, and they have clients. So what they want to do is provide them an experience that they can't get if they walk through the door of the gallery. What we want to do is give them that experience, but then we want to actually engage them enough that they actually will come back and walk through the door of the gallery to a different type of experience. But the executive, you know, we want to get them back, we want to get them to corporate events. I mean, when I was actually at the museum, we actually had a corporate sponsorship program. So it was companies, camera companies, they could give $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. We provided them with a venue. They invited their clients engaged. We get a curator to go and talk at these events or a director and engage them actually in the experience. But they wanted that one that was exclusive to them, so which is the key to that audience. Special interest groups, we were talking about this before, people are interested in photography, you know, and we can actually, you know, provide lots of opportunities for this audience if we know who they are. I mean, for us it's photography, it's art, could be theatre, you know, our public programs and access and learning manager is ex-NIDA. You know, she's got this great feel for theatre space, engagement with the audience on a different level to what we've normally done before. So there are lots of these groups out there for people to tap into if you think about it. And young and old, I think it's really, and what they want to do is they actually want that expert staff. They want to engage in people who know what they're talking about. So, you know, for me it's about getting the right curator or, you know, theatre performers such as Karen to talk to performing groups. So it's about finding that expert staff member. And here we are at the youth culture. And I love the advice from the youth culture, so thank you. But, you know, one of the things that we need to do is actually, you know, like we've just done Paul Kelly. Right? Paul Kelly's my generation, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older, had a great response, you know, to Paul Kelly. But could we do that actually would engage the youth culture? Could we think about who actually they're interested at the moment and actually get these people engaging with the audience we need to engage with? I mean, we've got this incredible resource across our collection of people who are actually in the collection, and how do we actually bring them and engage those different audiences with them as well?
Partner with Triple J.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting about Triple J. Because
I listen to it all the time, and you know, sometimes I have to turn it down when they're talking, but the music is fantastic.
Yeah, that's right. It's about tapping
and
into.
And they have their whole Australian musician genre. I mean, it's fairly young.
Yeah, but it is kind of interesting because Triple J is young in some markets and not so young in other markets. So it's an interesting media.
But I mean, you know, all the lives of the people that are playing, you know, of the music, I mean, that is engaging, you know, when you're talking about the things that people, you know, to get the music out there, what they go through, all that, very interesting.
But, yeah, and I agree. So it is really about finding the right partner or somebody who's actually going to draw that audience, and I think that's really a key to what we're talking about. You know, it also gives you the opportunity to try maybe some of those groups that you were thinking about before in that event. And social media. Now, I may rethink that bottom line to a point, because I think it's got to be broader, and social media, I'm still trying to work out the formula on social media.
You just have to be relevant, I think, because often you go to institutions that pretty much are just written the regular program into their Facebook page, and if you go in there, you're not getting anything new or anything different.
And you're pushing it out, but you're not actually having that engagement.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a repeat of their website, you know, and it's like you may as well just go to the website. But social media has to be interactive. It's got to be today, not yesterday.
Fresh.
And constantly changing.
But you know, the hardest thing for us as cultural institutions is actually having the resources to
It's a
put into
resource.
it.
It's a full-time job.
Where, you know, all those people who are in that, people who use social media, you know, understand how it works, it's a great opportunity for you guys to actually think about that audience and how you can engage with them, because you're absolutely right. Cultural institutions push it out, they don't actually engage. And that's my biggest quote around, if we're going to do it, it has to be a two-way.
If you look at people who are successful with social media, it is about forming a community, so it's not focusing on what technology or whether it's Facebook or what form of social media, but it's about having a community who are engaged, and then it's how does that community communicate. So all the other groups up there are different communities, and youth culture is an incredibly broad term, but lots of different communities who engage in different ways.
It's a great point. It's a great point.
You actually have to be really careful not to post too much. Where you're saying it's a full-time job, it's not. You shouldn't be posting several things a day, or even, you know, every couple of days, because people stop reading it, because there's just that constant, you know, cycle of information.
One of the things I did for the opening of Port Kelly was actually invited some bloggers to the opening event. And that worked really well for us. So kind of thinking about using it.
But that's trending something as opposed to having them, marketing your product. That's them sending it out to their markets, which works a lot better. And what you were saying about Triple J, a huge amount of Canberra listeners call in all the time. I'm always surprised. Triple J regularly advertises things in Melbourne and Sydney, like free, you know, open or little exhibitions or things that happen in Federal Square in Melbourne. Never anything in Canberra. I've never heard one free event published, broadcast on Triple J. And I've always found that really odd, because we have so many things on it, you know, Stage 88. You know, it would only take one plug, but there's definitely people listening. You know, if you've got one free open night for something or other, get them to advertise it once in a blue moon, you know.
Fortunately, Triple J just don't seem to pick up on cultural institutions in Canberra.
Everywhere else, though.
So I don't know whether that's about their market.
You have to invite some of them along to your opening days.
That's right, you know, that's right. They probably expect us to fly them down.
No, but having worked with Triple J, which is a very difficult organization to partner with, and they do have some very strong ideas about Canberra and the Canberra market. And one of the things that it was really hard to get through to them was the existence of the Australian National University, with this immense audience there. And so they're very conscious of the fact that there's a great divide between ANU and that as a community, and Canberra. And I guess one of the things we have to do is to try to demolish that wall and engage more with those students, so that outside Canberra they can see us as a city that is vibrant and not only public servants.
Well, one of the things I can say to you is when we did the Vivid Festival, you know, which had 135 different venues in Canberra for the Vivid Festival, and we did that a few years ago. one of the things we were really trying to do around that big festival was position Canberra as, you know, a creative city, to engage people, to draw visitors in, to have this incredible experience over this month. My memory serves me right, it was about 4 years in the making. But that, you know, and unfortunately what happens around those is you get a great event like that, or you get, you know, people who are responsible for driving visitation, tourism to the city, who don't actually want to engage in the creative aspects of Canberra and don't think that that's our brand position. You know, our value proposition to the audience is about the creative industries in Canberra, and that just, I mean, I'm not talking about just cultural institutions, I'm talking about everybody sitting in this room, that you are part of that creative industry that can position Canberra as something completely different and unique. Because, you know, where else, you know, you might have state institutions and you might have artists in major cities, but we've got, you know, the national institutions, we've got the local, we've got the performing artists, we've got the artists, and if we could just get tourism to actually say that that's our point of difference, it would make a really unique experience and people would have a completely different perception, I think, of who we are in Canberra, rather than the politicians who they all vote for, which is what I tell them every time I see them. Sorry.
I think one of the things that's important in Canberra, I know you mentioned ANU and you probably didn't deliberately mean to not mention UC and CIT, but I think part of the
I'm from UC, so.
yeah, I think part of the problem with Canberra is that there's that geographical divide between north and sort of the centre and south as well. And I think it's important for people in Canberra to sort of look at it as a whole. Student, you know, because UC has like graphic design, interior design, sort of design courses, yeah. ANU has like the fine arts and the digital media course, and then fashion and, you know, design at CIT as well. And I think it's easy to sort of pigeonhole people from where they come from in Canberra. And I think when Canberra starts to sort of be more proud of itself, then like the rest of the nation sort of will respect them a bit more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's a really interesting point about, yeah, I can tell you my husband's a northerner, and like he won't live anywhere else but on the north side of Canberra. I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it, you know.
I think every city has their north and south.
What I've been trying to say through this sort of looking at these different audiences is about thinking about who are your audiences, and not just thinking about the typical core structure of audiences around where you've got tourists, you've got cool kids, you've got this. It's about thinking about what's the potential. You know, who could you tap into that you may not have thought about, or thinking a little bit outside the square to think about how you might engage them. And for some of you people in this room, it will be a whole lot easier than for other people, but it's really just getting you to think a little bit more about outside the norm and thinking outside the square.